Wow, so the Madlanga Commission seems to have cracked open the most massive justice system scandal since 1994. In this video, I'm going to walk you through some of it, but if you stay with me till my biblical reaction, you'll get to see an important principle for South Africa to prosper, because South Africa will prosper, and it is. You ready? Okay, press like. Let's go. So 2 days ago, the head of IDAC, after she had resigned, had to go back to the Madlanga Commission. But the next big bombshell was realizing that even the arrest of Masemola, the suspended commissioner of police, was not kosher.
My concern in the debate about whether or not this falls within the IDAC mandate is that on the charge sheet itself, there is no allegation of corruption. You don't make that allegation in the charge sheet. And working off the charge sheet as it is now, the impression that it creates, or that in my mind has formulated, is that there was no good faith intention to prefer a charge because it is justified, it is supported by the facts. This was just a scheme to get him arrested or present to court, to have him appear in court, and the purpose is achieved just by that fact alone. So you don't even get to the validity of the charges. That's why we don't discuss with you whether there's merit in the charges themselves. That's for the court to determine eventually if it does. Which is obvious from the charge sheet and must have been obvious to the lawyers in your office and to the prosecutor who approves those charges. It must have been obvious just on the charges that we are not making an allegation of corruption against him. How do we justify him being here? That must have been obvious. And accepting, because it's difficult not to accept that it was that obvious to the lawyers who dealt with this. Accepting that it would have been obvious to them that this charge sheet is wholly inadequate for purposes of our mandate. There has to be another reason why, anyway, you approved the charge, this charge as it stands, without saying to you, hang on, go back, include corruption in there so that it falls within our mandate. To me, it gives the impression that the whole purpose of this charge sheet was to just have him appear in court. Just have him, let's create a paper that presents him to court and he becomes an accused with a consequence that we now publicly know happened, which is he was removed from his position, whether it's a leave or suspension, whatever, but he's not in office. I say that because it's inconceivable to me that a whole lot of lawyers who looked at this charge sheet, none of them said, hang on, we can't do this. This is not good enough for purposes of our mandate if we want to charge him as involved in corruption. Even your interpretation that you give to the chair this morning, if that interpretation had been discussed, it would find reflection in the charge sheet. However inelegantly expressed, if the idea was that, well, he's implicated in the corruption, even if it's just these sections, but that connection, it would have found expression here with a lawyer's eye. And that it doesn't find expression suggests to me is because you couldn't do it. None of you could get to the point where an allegation of corruption is made or him is being linked to the other accused conduct. And for that, you couldn't go that far. But it didn't matter because the real intention was never to get a successful prosecution of corruption or a successful prosecution that comes under PRECA. That was never the real intention. In my view, the intention was, as I say, get him arrested with the spectacle that comes with it, get him charged with a consequence that naturally will follow, which is the minister, and hopefully even he, National Commissioner, would say it's untenable for me to remain in this position while I'm undergoing a criminal trial, and that was its only purpose. That's what it looks like to me. You may comment if you want.
Well, that's what it looked like to everyone who was following this testimony. So clearly, in the same way that the head of crime intelligence was arrested, who has now had the charges provisionally dropped, it seems the same thing was being done for the Commissioner of Police to be charged and embarrassed and suspended for whatever reason. But we know the one reason we heard last year, so that they don't disturb cartels. But the IDAC boss has an employee, Drew Ramsamy, who came today and really exposed what was going on. The most amazing part of her testimony was her playing a recording of Andrea Johnson speaking to her, and man, you gotta hear it.
Hello.
How are you?
Fine, and you?
Well, they put me through the paces for the section 2813 on
diversion.
commando matter. Yeah.
Okay. I haven't been watching. I've been so busy.
Yeah. Don't worry. I think they're gonna call you.
Oh God.
I'll come and tell you why.
Mm.
You'll have to figure out how you don't go. Okay. So they said to me, I must tell them step by step. I said, I get the 2813. Usually we give it to a team. Santosh is the deputy, but I give it to Drew.
Yeah.
You use it to compile a section 2813.
Mm.
Now they're saying when they look at the 2813,
Yeah.
must just check, the annexure that has all the names of the people, annexure A, it has all the suspects.
Yeah.
When you look at the 2813, you could only really make out Kumalo, maybe Madondo and Lushaba.
Yeah.
Where did you get all the other names from?
That page that you gave me, the names were on that page that you gave me, the one in the folder.
The names that were reportedly given by Andrea Johnson to Advocate Ramsamy were all the PKTT and crime intelligence guys that they wanted to go after.
But it's on my email.
Because they say I've now abused my power by authorizing other people's names that are there.
I don't know what to say, Mama, because I specifically remember, and it's also on my email, where I explained what I received from you and what I returned to you.
Yeah, I was actually feeling sick. I got sick last week, remember?
Yeah.
And I had a panic attack. So for the first time, I'm taking meds for it. And after a while, I just felt I was zoned. And I realized I wasn't even paying attention. Yeah, because, otherwise I'm very confused because they need to know from me tomorrow. Where did I get these names? And I need to understand where did I get those names. Now, it's fine if you say you got it from me, but I don't know where I got it from. Or else, I go there. I've already now abused my power by not asking where these names came from. I said to them, you know what, maybe I had a discussion with you. I just can't remember right now. And which would then be true. Drew, we had a discussion.
Yeah.
If you say that there was this paper. But where did this paper come from? Where would those names have come from?
That was what our conversation was. It came from consultation with Dylan and Fadil, and then you had written it down. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to talk to him, then you and I will check it. But thank you. And sorry, but they asked me for the name of every person who's dealt with the matter.
No, it's fine. I don't even know what's happening. I'll be very honest with you. I stopped watching because we are so busy with preparation for blue lights that I just don't have the time to listen.
And don't watch because it will really, if they call you, you leave the country.
Okay. Oh God. Okay.
It's not what you know.
Okay. No.
I didn't know Section 28. I didn't know Section 27. I know nothing. I'm as dumb as two bricks.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. But it's okay because, you know what? Whether we like it or not, they're going to make our names shit anyway because you can just see, especially when, remember he's a judge. For him to make a comment, oh, well, this is basic law 101. I'm surprised you don't know it with your 30 years experience.
Oh, I don't even know what to say to that.
Exactly. And he makes faces, they laugh with each other while you're still answering. It's so unprofessional.
Yeah, no, I don't want to go there.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what we're all going to do, but it's just going to be a shit show. But I'm going to talk to Vivian quickly.
Okay, but ask him to check my emails it must have been around the 11th, 12th or 13th of December because I went on leave on the 14th of December.
So anyway, Advocate Ramsamy pretty much just exposed the whole 4 days of Andrea Johnson's testimony as what's the word? She exposed it to be maybe she must tell you.
Advocate Johnson gave the impression in so many words that she doesn't get involved in the minutiae of reading documents. It works on briefings by investigators, I think largely, but by yourselves, that team. And so some of the things that are questionable that she was taken through to explain where did this come from, her answers would be, that's what my investigators told me. And yet here you say that she would have had the benefit of the information note as early as 10 December. Can you just explain how it worked?
I explained earlier in my affidavit, and I'll elaborate now. Advocate Johnson said she was going to be the supervisor of this matter. She was the dictator of this matter. There was not a single move for the period that I was involved, right until 2025, September. There was not a single action that was done in the Medicare or the crime intelligence that Advocate Johnson didn't know about. And it must also be noted that between Advocate Johnson and Mr. Paramore, they would talk to each other and update each other about everything. And that's why I earlier said you could have a conversation with Advocate Johnson and make sense now. And 5 minutes after speaking to Paramore, she's completely changed her mind, and we are now on the beat of what Mr. Paramore wants. So was it Commissioner or Kumalo or Chair that said it's a lie?
I'm just glad it's not me. I'm not in that list.
But at the risk of being very badly victimized when I get back to the office, it's a lie. It is a straight lie.
But I did say, of course, that we are yet to make a final conclusion on the issue. But you as a witness, you are entitled to say it's a lie if you consider it to be a lie.
Am I allowed to say it's a big fat lie?
No.
No. Okay, I recheck. It's a lie. I'm going to illustrate now, Chair, you are, and Commissioner, you are, but head of us, we are about to show how Advocate Johnson ran the project and gave instructions.
Thank you.
Police commissioner arrested along with the other generals for the 360 million rands tender. What's come out clearly is that was not in IDAC's track. Head of Crime Intelligence, Dumisani Kumalo, was also arrested with Dineo Mukwili and others. All the testimony shows IDAC had no business with that. And Andrea Johnson's basic answer to every question is like, I can't remember because the guys did it and they need to brief me. I don't know. We've come to find out that's a big fat lie. And so Advocate Ramsamy's testimony today was just the final nail in the coffin to see that IDAC has been working hard to dismantle the justice system by getting our police commissioner suspended, getting our crime intelligence head pushed out of the way, embarrassing both of them with arrests. What a mess. And so, of course, very surprising news today. MK Party moves to scrap IDAC amidst mounting questions over anti-corruption unit. So the MK Party is not saying fire the leadership, clean up IDAC, make sure it works properly. They say we don't need IDAC. Now, I don't know why. Maybe you tell me in the comments, why do you think they've put a bill through in Parliament to say just scrap IDAC altogether? What's your theory? I don't have one yet. Now, do you also think they'll get the support of the ANC, DA, or EFF to get enough votes to get this bill through to end up becoming a law one day? Or is this just grandstanding and they know it won't go anyway? So IDAC has been such a mess. What IDAC has done is really shameful. My biblical reaction: he who justifies the wicked and he who condemns the righteous are both an abomination. An abomination is something that is exceedingly disgusting and hateful to the Lord. If you feel disgusted by an institution that was set up to fight corruption, going after cops instead to dismantle our policing and our crime intelligence, and obviously the only beneficiary would be criminals. If you think that's disgusting, if you think that's hateful, well, you probably got that from the Lord. I know Julius Malema just went out and he says our faith in God, the God who created the universe, is just an oppressive tactic to make black people depoliticized, and our God is the God who just kills people in Israel. He may say that, but for most of us who feel disgust that the righteous are being punished and the wicked are being justified, well, we probably got that from being made in the image of God, because it is equally an abomination to the Lord. That's why I keep reminding people, and many think they can play both sides of the fence, but I gotta let you know that no man can serve two masters. At some point, they'll have to dishonor the one and honor another. They will have to despise the one and honor the other. You can't serve God and Karl Marx. And if you're going to keep running with this Marxist stuff, then listen, you can't hear Julius insulting our God like that and pretend you can just pick the bones from the meat because the rest of what he says is cool. It's all one doctrine. And if you're going to go on with this Marxism because someone told you you have to because you're black, well, just drop God, please. Because the other way is disgusting. Pick one, run with it. You have my blessing. Let's make history together. Cheers.